All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for today, this Monday, Cinco de Mayo. My name is Carrie Chin, and I'm the Wellness Program Administrator for the Healthy County Program. And with me today is Mark Dollett, and he is the Senior Wellness Consultant for the West Territory. And today we are going to be talking to everyone about ways that we can stay active in a sedentary job. Maybe you have a desk job, maybe you drive a lot for your job. So, just giving everyone a little bit of insight as to why moving is important. We all know we have to move, got to build time in the day, and so we're here to talk about how to do that without feeling overwhelming.
The National Physical Activity Guidelines are for 150 minutes a week, moderate activity or 75 minutes or more vigorous activity. And the new part that I'm very grateful that they added is to add muscle strengthening activity or strength training at least 2 days a week. And as we'll come to see throughout this presentation, that's a critical piece of the puzzle. And especially as we age, is absolutely important. We can get more benefits by being more active. But here's the problem is that 25% of us are not active. We're not meeting these guidelines. And so that means that 3 out of 4 of us or 75% of us are not. And these are national statistics. I would guess in the state of Texas, it's actually probably a little bit lower than that. Um, Another thing that's very closely related to physical activity is obesity, sadly. And we don't look at this as a fashion thing or a how you look thing. We're talking about health here, right? Because that's the critically important piece. And if we look at adult obesity, we can see just in the last 20 years, this is from 1999 to 2017, that it has gone up 25% from 30% of the population to 42% of the population. That's a big increase. And if we look at severe obesity, it's also called morbid obesity, that has doubled from 4.7% to almost 10% of the population. But perhaps even more alarming than this is looking at childhood obesity. The next slide, you can see how much those lines go up, and that's a big concern for the coming future generations. Oh my. Of course, this does, if you look at the dates on here, it goes back a little bit earlier. We're looking back to the 1960s, so that increases the slope of the line a little. But the fact that younger generations are getting increasingly obese is a big problem for future health when we think about all of the health issues and diseases that are connected with obesity, from cancer to heart disease to diabetes. And what can we do about that? So before we dive into the what, though, let's look at a few common fitness myths and barriers to taking action. A common one is I'm too old. And as somebody who's almost 60, I would say that is a myth. You can do it at any age. But some of you may remember the stories that I tell about the graduate school research program that I was involved in, where we looked at the effect of strength training in people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, and the profound impacts that had, right? And I remember working with, two of my clients, Winnie and Virginia, who were both in their 90s. And they would come in and they would strength train, 3 times a week. One of them started the program with a walker, but after 12 weeks, just 12 weeks, so 3 months of strength training 3 times a week in a guided program, only one set, uh, she was able to get off of her walker and regain her mobility. And it improved things like reaction time and balance, in addition to strength and ability to do everyday things. So, uh, uh, you know, the point is we're never too old to start, and we're never too old to reap the benefits. Another myth is the longer I go and the more calories I burn. So more must equal better. Well, that's not necessarily the most effective way to lose weight or to get fit either. A lot of the research now is showing that high intensity intervals, or fartlek training, which is intervals go as you feel kind of stuff, can be very effective, not only at fitness, but also at losing weight and increasing your metabolism. A third myth is it's too expensive. I can't afford it. Well, the reality is Most of us, all we need are a pair of halfway decent walking shoes. And if you remember Forrest Gump, you can wear almost anything. Come on, Forrest, run, Forrest, run. Um, and we don't need gyms either. You can certainly use one, but later in the presentation, you can actually use body weight to do strength training in the comfort of your own home. So we don't really need to spend much money at all on getting fit. Then we have spot reducing. That's the idea that, well, I carry my weight around my middle, so I'm going to do 1,000,000 sit-ups, and that's going to help me lose the fat around my middle. Or I carry my weight in my butt, therefore I'm going to do a certain exercise. No, that doesn't work. The reality is that when we lose a certain percent, let's say we lose body weight, we're going to lose 5% of what's in our butt, 5% of what's in our stomach, and 5% of what's on our forehead. That's just the way the body works. It pulls from everywhere when you're losing body fat. So there's no magic exercise to reduce from a certain spot. Now, if you have 3 more inches in your abdomen than on your forehead, obviously it's going to be a bigger percent, or excuse me, the percent is going to be the same, but it's going to be a bigger measurement that you lose, but it's going to lose from everywhere. Then my metabolism slows down as I age. That's actually not accurate either. Your metabolism is related to your activity level and your muscle mass. And some of you remember this guy on the left here, Jack LaLanne. He was very active and strength trained into his 90s. And this is a picture, I think, in his late 80s. Look at those bulging muscles, and his metabolism was way up there. So the reality is, again, it's not related to age, it's related to the use it or lose it principle. And finally is, ladies, some of you may be a little worried, oh no, I don't want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. What if I get too big? Well, the reality is, ladies, your hormones will not allow you to get like Jack here on the left or like Arnold. You're just going to look toned and fit if you fully engage with strength training. You're not going to look too big. So those are a few of the common fitness myths and barriers. But let's talk about, why did this matter? Well, if fitness could be bottled, it would be the best-selling pill at the pharmacy. It would be a blockbuster. It would be a multi-billion-dollar drug because of all the benefits that you get with fitness. One of the biggest concerns these days is Alzheimer's and dementia. So let me ask you a question. If you could take a pill that would reduce your risk of dementia by 70%, would you? Think about that for a minute. Now, unfortunately, there is no pill to reduce the risk of dementia by anything close to that, right? There's a few medications out there that might help slow it down or retard it a little bit, but it's not going to reduce your risk by maybe under 10%, nowhere close to 70. But the reality is, fitness, and especially strength training, now has been shown to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's and dementia by about 70%, and that is absolutely huge. So the number one thing you can do for reducing your risk of Alzheimer's and dementia is to exercise, and specifically strength training. Some recent research shows that the number of people diagnosed with dementia right now is just around 500,000 cases per year in the US. But by the year 2060, that will double to almost 1,000,000 cases a year. So the rate is increasing dramatically. And a large-scale study that looked at gene expression. It had 25 different solutions that looked at medications, that looked at mental exercises, all kinds of things. And it found that out of those 25 solutions, the top 3 treatments were all exercise related, all exercise based. So again, it is the number one thing we can do to help prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. So hopefully that's a little motivating to some of you. Because I know I'm concerned about it. I helped my father-in-law over the last 2 years move around several mental care homes. Had to be moved several times, and I helped him with that. And so it's a big issue, and it's not fun to deal with, but imagine yourself in that space. And I want to do everything I can to prevent getting Alzheimer's and dementia. Now, if we look at physical activity and our health, this is another slide that I think is very helpful. It shows the relationship of our activity level to our risk of disease, a whole bunch of different diseases here. So As we move to the right on the graph, as we increase our activity level, our risk of all of these diseases go down. Osteoporosis, weight gain, diabetes, CHG is coronary heart disease, stroke, functional health status, that's our ability to do everyday things as we age. And the only thing that goes up is musculoskeletal injury, and that only goes up when we're more than halfway to the right of the graph. So people who do, marathons and extreme, crossfitting competitions and that sort of thing might risk, injury more than a couch potato. But the reality is we only have to get a third of the way across the slide to reap the vast majority of the benefits, and that's good news. If we look at the next slide, lifespan versus health span. Most of us are familiar with lifespan. That's the amount of time that we live, our time on this earth until we pass. Health span, on the other hand, that is our quality of life and our ability to do everyday things as we age. And this is another place where exercise and moving our body can make a tremendous difference. If we look at the blue line, this is kind of the normal in our society. We've come to accept that we have once we hit 60 or 65, our bodies start to go downhill. We start to spend more time in and out of doctor's offices and hospitals. We're less able to do the everyday chores and things that we want to do, and especially those things that we look forward to in retirement, we become less able to do. And the reality is the research says that that's not our must-have, right? That is something that if we don't make any changes, just like the definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing and expect different results. Back to our first quote, if we take specific action to make changes, our life can look more like the red line on here, which essentially means we're maintaining our quality of life and our ability to do everyday things right up until the last few months, maybe before we pass. So it dramatically increases our quality of life right up until the end of life. And that's something that we can push that curve further and further to the right. That is within our control. If we look at the next slide, this is a really complicated slide, but what I want you to get out of this is the relationship between these things. So exercise, both aerobic and strength training, again, two sides of the same coin, has a big impact on our ability to focus, our mental clarity. It reduces pain, it reduces weight. It increases our mood and resilience, our agility, balance, and reaction time. Those qualities that I talked about with the research study that I helped work on, strength, reducing injury, and reducing physical health risks. All of those things in turn impact all of these other things down at the bottom, right? Feeling great, our mental health, aging with vitality, preventing Alzheimer's and dementia, having a high level of energy, and preventing disease. And all of those things together save lives and quality of life. And this is kind of the personal aspect of it. How does that impact me? But if we go to the next slide, all of the things along the top are the same, but now we're looking at it through an employer lens, right? So all of those things impact absenteeism, presenteeism, workers' comp, auto insurance, fewer accidents if you're fitter and healthier, liability insurance, medical claims, and law enforcement related issues, right? All of those are improved, and as a county as a whole, that will save money for your county if your employees are fitter. Another quote, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now, right? And maybe talking about trees, but we're talking about planting seeds and planting trees. We're really talking about exercise. Again, it's never too late to start, and today is the best day to start. Let's jump into a few more benefits of moving your body. So cognitive and physical function benefits. And I've already talked about, a number of these, but believe it or not, physical movement improves your mental sharpness or acuity, your memory retention, and your spatial relations. So oftentimes you hear talk about, well, go to the senior center when you get older and stay mentally active, play board games. No. What this is saying is the best thing you can possibly do for your brain health and your mind as you age is to be physically active, right? On the right-hand side here, you see the lymph-sweat connection. That's another important thing. Your lymph system is just as many miles of vascularization as your blood vessels, but your lymph is what helps get toxins out of the body. Your heart has a pump to pump blood. Your lymph system, the only thing that pumps your lymph is moving your body, right? And sweating. So when you sweat, you're getting rid of toxins, you're moving that lymph throughout your body. And that's also critically important for long-term health. Then if we go to known health risk benefits, we already covered some of these again, but moving your body, one of the biggest drivers of lowering your blood pressure, lowering your lipid profile, increasing your good, healthy HDL, lowering your visceral fat. That's not just your fat, that's the fat that is surrounding your internal organs on the inside of your body cavity. That's very important. And it improves digestion and absorption and elimination, all critical things. A few more known disease prevention benefits. Look at these cancer risks down here at the bottom. So physical movement is critically important to preventing cancer. Up to 40% of colon cancer, 30% of breast cancer, prostate, lung, and a bunch of others are profoundly impacted by moving your body. And all of these other diseases. So the reality, again, is moving our body is the #1 thing we can do for just about anything. And Carrie, in just a few minutes here, is going to get into some specifics of how. One more study that I want to share, heart disease. This is critically important because heart disease is still the #1 killer of all Americans, men and women, every race out there, even purple potatoes. No, kidding. But you get the idea here. So looking at these different columns, we have low fitness on the left, moderate fitness in the middle, and high fitness level on the right. And you can see if you are highly fit, your risk of having a heart attack or stroke is significantly less than being low fitness level. And again, if we look at the ratios, let's look at the females for just a minute, which is the reddish orange. So if you're highly fit versus low fit, this means you are 8 times more likely to have a heart attack or stroke if you are at a low level of fitness, or conversely, 8 times less likely if you're highly fit. And even though the numbers are higher for men, 3 to 24, that's still the same ratio. That's an 8 to 1 ratio. So you're 8-fold less likely to have a heart attack or stroke if you have a high level of fitness. That's how important fitness is. And finally, if we move to looking at your law enforcement, emergency services, and road and bridge guys, there's a lot of injury-related claims and workers' comp type claims that happens in these positions within the county. And again, having a higher level of fitness, a higher level of strength is going to help prevent a lot of these injuries and health issues. And as I've said before, strength training, aerobic training are 2 different sides of the same coin, but this right here is a nice little chart that lays out the difference between the two and the benefits. Both of them have benefits, but you can see where both aerobic and strength have different benefits, right? So aerobic exercise is more effective at lowering blood pressure, while strength training is more effective at improving bone density and improving our physical function, right? And actually increasing our insulin sensitivity. That should be of note if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes or you're at risk for diabetes, that strength training is actually more helpful than aerobic training. So again, I won't belabor this point, but just want to say equally important thing. And Carrie's going to talk a little bit about strength training down the road. So let's dive into the solutions and some ideas for improving all of this. So a few fitness principles. #1, any movement is better than no movement at all. That right there, I think, is critically important. Whatever you can manage to do in a day, again, taking that choice to act every single day, whatever you do is far better than doing nothing at all. Second principle, to get benefits and results, you have to challenge yourself regularly. If you walk the same quarter mile and never increase past the quarter mile, your body stops adapting after about a month or two, and you won't see much further benefit. You need to continually challenge your body in different ways, whether it's longer distance, faster pace, increasing the amount of weight that you're moving, changing your exercise, etc. Third principle, variety. Variety is helpful. In addition to challenging yourself, you need to give your body different stimuli. If you just do push-ups and never anything but push-ups, well, your chest might grow, or the muscles in your chest, but beyond that, you're not going to see much benefit. So you got to give yourself different variety, again, of strength and aerobic, fast power walking, longer, slower walks. Variety is the name of the game. Number three, this one we've hit on again and again. Strength and aerobic are two sides of the same coin, equally important with different benefits. Here's a new one. Fitness chunked up into bite-sized pieces is just as valuable as continuous exercise, possibly more valuable. And so that I think helps all of us, because one of the biggest barriers to engaging in fitness is I don't have enough time, right? I'm stressed out. My capacity is up to here. I don't have any more bandwidth. I can't find an extra hour in the day to go to the gym or to go for an hour-long walk or jog. But the reality is 3 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes there throughout the day is just as valuable. The only exception to that is if you're training for a 10K or to run a marathon or something, you need some continuous exercise. But as far as health span and longevity and long-term health and disease prevention, most of the research is showing that chunked up is actually more beneficial. Rather than being a couch potato 23 hours a day and then exercising for 1 hour, you actually get more benefit by doing a little bit here, a little bit there throughout the whole day. So that should be good news for all of us, because most of us can find 3 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Then longer is not necessarily better for health or weight loss to a certain extent, right? And that extent is maybe, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. But again, unless you're training for a marathon, you don't need to go out there and power walk for 2.5 hours or get on a treadmill for an hour, right? Sometimes shorter, more intense exercise is more beneficial. And finally, when it comes to weight, you cannot outrun your mouth. Meaning, we can have all the best intentions in the world and actually be very physically active, but if we're not watching what we eat in the kitchen, it's going to be very hard to lose weight. And because our calorie input versus calorie output, is important. But the other piece of good news is even if you never lose weight, but you're physically active every day, the health benefits are still there. You're still going to have a tremendous improvement in all of the benefits related to fitness and exercise, even if you still retain an extra 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. Moving your body again will just have a tremendous impact. So those are the fitness principles. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Carrie, who's going to start talking about some creative office strategy. Oh yes, we need to pass
All right, we're back. Thank y'all so much for your patience. We are both mic'd up now, ready to go. Okay, so as Mark mentioned, so now you kind of have a better idea as to the why. Why are we talking about this? Why is it important for our health? And so now we're gonna talk about some creative strategies to build some fitness in your day. I love when Mark mentioned that, sometimes doing something for an hour and then, being sedentary for 23 hours isn't ideal, because I know personally, that taking an hour during the day doesn't always work out. We're busy, we're running around. So just having those times to chunk in fitness is so important. So one idea is to just take a 5-minute power walk. I try to do this daily. I try to just get up and walk around our floor at TAC, or go downstairs and walk around the building once. I love to just grab a coworker a lot of times and, oh, hey, especially if we have to catch up on something, instead of sitting there and emailing each other when you're literally, on the same floor, grab that person and have a quick walking meeting. We're going to show you guys some stretches here in a second, but this is another great thing to do. You don't even have to leave your office just to get up and do a quick stretch break that can take, maybe 90 seconds. And then also, splitting strength. So you don't have to do everything in one day. If you want to do some upper body exercises one day, do some lower body the next day. So it's finding the time when you can, but this makes it a little easier to fit everything in when you break it up. And mentioned this already, but just walking, but picking up the pace. If you're walking to your car at the grocery store, wherever that is, try power walking. Power walking, as we know, has so many benefits. So just use those opportunities to increase intensity, like Mark said. And my personal favorite, visiting a coworker instead of emailing or sending them a Teams message, just walk across the hall. And not only will you get steps in, but as we know, connection is so important and another good way to boost your mental health. So any opportunity to be social, face to face is great, especially in this day and age when so much is virtual. All right. So now let's look at a few more strategies that we can do in our counties or in our workplace. So conducting a Biggest Loser contest. We have several groups that have done this, where you have people get together and pool money or pool whatever it is they want to do. So it's just encouraging people to get competitive with it, right? And so seeing who loses the most body percentage of body weight. So that's a really fun way to get everyone motivated. And then also getting a device under your desk. This can be another way to just get some extra movement into your day. You might not have the time to get up and go walk all the time, but just getting something under your desk. And we're going to look at those a little bit more, but there's some examples here on that slide. We also, as you know, with the Healthy County program, are fully pooled groups to get employer rewards. And those are funds that we give back to counties for engagement. So when our counties participate and engage their employees in Healthy County programs, whether that be employees participating in our WebMD1 portal, or taking advantage of our Healthy County rewards, getting their preventive care, engaging in Televoc or Livongo, or having the wellness consultants out to the counties to do workshops, and also implementing a county-specific incentive program, which we call CSIs. So all those things are ways for counties to earn employer rewards. And we have had several counties earn enough or save up their rewards each year and put full gyms in their courthouses, or purchase a treadmill, for example. So there's lots of creative ways to use that money. That is completely up to the county how they want to spend that. Of course, we encourage counties to use it for wellness initiatives, but again, this is just another resource you have available through Healthy County. And then hosting walking meetings. So we know there's times where, it's pertinent, everyone's in front of their computers, but hosting a walking meeting when possible is a great way to not only get in extra steps, but we all know that when we walk, we are pumping blood to our brains, and often we're more creative when we're not just sitting at our desk. So this is a great time to just brainstorm, or as we like to say at Healthy County, brain hurricane ideas. So next time you have a meeting where you don't have to be in front of your desk or your computer, suggest a walking meeting.
That extra blood flow will help your creativity and your ideas.
Exactly. There you go. In fact, we should probably do that more here, don't you think? I love it.
Except in July and August.
Except in July and August. Yes. All right. So just a couple pictures. We have counties that, host courthouse walks, and a great way to just, build connection with employees, but get those extra steps in, especially during some of our Healthy County contests. And we do these here at TAC as well. We have times where we have staff employee meetings, and we have a wellness committee, TAC Thrive. And so we'll organize just a 30-minute quick walk before the meeting. And it's a really good way to, as I mentioned, connect with people you might not see every day. But, anytime you can just get everyone together and get physically active, it's going to not only make everyone feel better, but a great way to catch up. All right. So let's talk about some easy ways that you can build in exercising just using your body weight. So as you can see from these pictures, and Mark here is in this center picture here, he's doing a wall squat. So I like to joke when we have meetings that we should all have wall squat meetings, because wouldn't they be a lot shorter if we did? But it's a great way to just get in some strength training without equipment, right? Just using your own body weight. And we're actually going to upload a document that Mark created, and it is full of really great ideas on ways to incorporate fitness just using your body weight. It's actually from a presentation that you may have seen Mark do at some of our conferences. But you don't have to have a gym or equipment always to get in your strength training, get in your fitness. You can do, push-ups against the wall. You can do planks, for example, as you can see this woman doing here at the bottom right. So,
yeah, there's a million different things you can do just using your body weight, or common things you have around the house, right? Best use of a 2-liter soda bottle I can think of is using it for arm exercises. But the reality is, we put this together, gosh, probably 8 or 10 years ago now. It's been quite a while since I did this the first time at a conference, but we'll bring it back and do it at another upcoming conference. We probably need to update the pictures as well, because it's been a while. But the reality is, if you're creative, you can do strength training with almost anything. As I said, you don't need to spend the money. You don't need to go to a gym. That's only if you're really increasing your strength and you want more advanced stuff, more advanced movements and more weight. But for most of us, our body weight will suffice for quite a bit.
Definitely. Yeah. And if you, any thrifters out there like myself, just about every time I jump into a Goodwill, there's definitely some inexpensive dumbbells. So keep that in mind if you are looking for something like that. Okay, so ways that we can, just be a little more active, or just avoid sitting so much, really, throughout the day. Having a standing desk, if this is something that's in your budget, fantastic. But if not, there are actual risers that are very inexpensive that you can put on a regular desk to prop your laptop up. I know before standing desks were a thing, I saw some very creative solutions for this. Some I wouldn't necessarily recommend because they weren't very stable, but people that wanted to stand up found a way. But yeah, so again, having a standing desk is great, or looking for a riser, and you can Google these, look on Amazon, just to, be able to prop up your laptop, um, to be able to, to stand and avoid sitting so much. We mentioned these as well, but finding a device that you can put under your desk. So a Versa climber or a little mini elliptical, just to get some exercise in, even when you are sitting, or you can actually stand on this one as well. So if you did have that standing desk, you could use something like this. There's also bike pedal machine. So this is obviously for sitting, but to be able to just, sit there and pedal while you're working away. Okay, so I personally don't have one of these, but I think this is on my wish list for sure, is a walking pad. So, treadmills can be pretty big and bulky, not really compatible with a desk setup necessarily, but walking pads are a great option, a great way to get in extra steps. And, you don't have to be super fast on these. I mean, you could set it pretty low and just, be moving. And again, as we know, that can actually help us be a little more productive, get that blood flowing. Okay, so next up, we're going to go through some desk exercises. And I encourage everyone out there watching to follow along with us. We're not going to do anything wild and crazy, but these are just super simple exercises that you can do throughout your day, when you're sitting or standing. And so, everyone, if you aren't already in a comfortable seated position, we're going to walk
Or maybe standing.
or maybe
Yeah.
standing. Yeah, maybe standing. We're going to walk through some of these. Okay.
Yeah, do them with us, please. This is participatory.
Yes, absolutely. And then you're going to feel like you left and got a little exercise too, right? Okay. So you're going to sit all the way back in your chair. And then with your head aligned with your body, you're going to slowly push your ear toward one side. So we'll start with our right shoulder, and we're going to hold for 5 seconds. So just a gentle stretch here along the neck. Okay. And then we're going to switch sides and go over to the left. And so just kind of holding it there for a few seconds, and then we're going to repeat. And you can repeat this, as much or as little as you want, but just kind of going back and forth and holding for a few seconds each time. All right. Okay, so the next one, great job, everyone. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is the chin tuck. Okay, so we're slowly going to tilt our head forward, and we're going to hold for 10 seconds. Don't forget to breathe through these. Try to keep that back nice and tall. Keep that spine elongated. All right, and then bringing it back up, and let's do that one more time. Just slowly bringing that chin down towards the chest.
You can feel the muscles in the back of your neck stretching as you.
I don't think we realize how much tension we carry around in our shoulders, especially being at a desk all day, which is why, taking a break and doing these is so important. All right. This is one of my personal favorites, just a simple shoulder pull. So, keeping both feet on the ground, and we're going to place that arm across the chest. And then we're gently going to put some pressure along the arm, pushing toward the body right here at the elbow. So don't forget, take a deep breath, make sure that spine is nice and elongated. We want to kind of make sure we're standing up straight with this one, but you're going to feel just a gentle pull here along the outside of the shoulder. Right, and let's, yeah, absolutely. And we're going to do the other side. So just pulling that other arm across. Don't forget to breathe. All right. So you can repeat that one, like I said, as many times as you want. Okay, the next one is the back stretch, excuse me. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, this one I know looks complicated, but there's a little hack I'm gonna teach you guys if you don't know this already. So to do this one, first of all, you're gonna lift your arm up, okay? And then you're going to bring that hand down kind of right in between the shoulder blades. And you can take your opposite hand and you can actually kind of try to reach those fingers. And if you're like me, you're not going to be able to touch those fingers. But what you can do is you can get like a small little hand towel or washcloth and you can hold on to one end with each hand and just connect it that way. And that's going to allow you to get a little bit of a deeper stretch by just holding on to really anything that's going to allow you to, connect the arms in a one stretch. And so then
you could use your Healthy County golf towel that was picked up at the last conference.
oh yeah, there you go. Then you're really showing off, aren't you? Love it. Okay. So then let's do the other side. So we're going to raise that left arm or the opposite arm up and keep those shoulders down. Make sure that spine's nice and tall and stretched out. And take a deep breath in. And let's exhale and let's take that arm back and then let's connect it. And you might notice that it's a little bit easier this time, just, stretching out the arms. Every time you do this, I feel like you're going to get a little bit closer there. But like we said, get that Healthy County golf towel or a washcloth to connect, be able to really stretch out. Okay. All right, so now we're going to do an overhead stretch and a front stretch. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to interlace our fingers with our palms turned upwards toward the ceiling above our head. Okay, so let's take a deep breath in and exhale, shoulders down, and just take a moment to kind of press those fingers towards the ceiling and feel in that stretch. Okay, and then we're going to lower our arms to the front, keeping those arms parallel to the ground and just stretching out those fingers. And you're going to feel that in your upper back as well. All right. And then, of course, repeat as needed. Okay. So next up, we're going to do some shoulder rolls. So we're just going to gently start circling our shoulders backwards. So for about 5 times, working those shoulders up towards the ears. And then we're going to go forward with some forward rolls. All right. Great job. Okay, so now we're going to work on some chest exercises. So we're going to do hands behind the head with this one. So we're going to interlace our fingers and we're going to just put our hand right there behind the head and just gently try to open up the chest here by imagining your elbows going back toward that wall behind you or the space behind you. Okay, so just feeling that gentle stretch in the shoulders and the chest and holding for 10 seconds and then releasing. And then let's take a deep breath in and then exhaling and opening up the shoulders. All right. Okay, so this next one is another stretch, and you can certainly do this sitting, although it may be a little bit easier to do it standing. So I'm just gonna stand up, but you can, whatever you're comfortable with. And all you have to do for this one is just clasp your hands behind your back. Your elbows are gonna be turned in, and you're gonna just, as you can see here, you're just gonna raise your arms up gently. Don't forget to breathe, but this feels really good. Try to get those shoulder blades together on this one. You're going to feel that within behind the shoulder and also in the chest. Just a nice little chest stretch here. All right. So this one we can do sitting. This next one is a torso twist. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross our right leg over the left, if it's comfortable for you, and rest your left forearm on the outside of that right leg. So just the opposite here, okay? And we'll just gently stretch inward toward this leg that is crossed. And you're actually going to feel this down here on the outer leg. Do you feel that?
Outer leg and spine, back of the shoulder.
Mm-hmm. All right, and we're going to do the other side. Let's take a deep breath in, because I know some of y'all are probably holding your breath during this. Deep breath in and exhale. And we're going to go ahead and, you can use your elbow, but as you can see, this gentleman here, he's just kind of using his hands, and that's perfectly okay too. Just try to keep your spine elongated and don't hunch over if you can help it. Try to keep those shoulders back when you're doing this one.
And you might find that one side is tighter than the other. Most of us are not equally flexible on both sides of our body. So,
Yeah, good point. All right. Okay, so this next one is the back stretch. I'm going to scoot back just a little bit for this one. So let's take our time with this one, but we're just going to keep those feet flat on the ground. And really the goal is to stretch out that lower back. If you do have lower back issues, definitely take this one with caution, but, do what you feel is comfortable. But just take a deep breath in, and we're just going to kind of start to lean forward over the waist and let, your chest kind of fall into your legs. And you can rest your hands on your knees, or if you're comfortable, you can take them all the way down and rest them down toward your ankles, and just kind of rest here, kind of relax the body, let that chest kind of fall into the front legs and feel that stretch along the back.
Remembering to breathe while we're doing it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, and then slowly working your way up, use those hands if you need to prop yourself back up. And, obviously you can repeat this one as many times as you'd like. All right, so the next one is hand exercises. Believe it or not, we hold a lot of tension in our hands. Okay, so that's why we give out stress relievers, right, Mark, at all the Healthy County events, because we it's really important to get that tension out and exercise your hands as well. It feels great. It's a great break. So the hand press, what we're going to do, we're going to sit up nice and tall. We're going to place our hands together with the wrists bent and keeping those shoulders back, and then just kind of trying to keep those arms parallel to the ground and gently pushing down to the floor. Just keeping those wrists bent there. And let's just take a deep breath in through the nose. And
You're going to stretch out your wrists and your forearms.
Definitely. And this is a great one to do with a breathing exercise. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and then holding for a few seconds and then exhaling out. If you joined us at CMRC or boot camp, we walked through some of these. A great one to do is just simple box breathing, where you're breathing in for 4 seconds and then you're holding it for 4 seconds and then exhaling for 4 seconds and then starting off over again. Another really helpful one that has been known to actually help calm the nervous system is 4-7-8. So that's actually taking a deep breath in for 4 seconds, holding it for 7 seconds, and then taking 8 seconds to do that exhale. So very slow exhale. So 4-7-8. And so if you're ever feeling stressed throughout the day, you need a minute. You can do some of those breathing exercises. Okay, so the next one up we have is a wrist stretch. So we're going to hold our arm out in front of us, and we're just going to gently stretch that arm, that wrist down this way. So we're stretching the outside of the wrist with this one. And then you can just kind of flip over your arm your hand, and have that hand going up towards the ceiling this time, and you'll feel it along the underneath the forearm. This is a great one too. I know that a lot of us, we do a lot of typing, and we're at our keyboard a lot, so it's really important to stretch out these muscles. And then we do the other side, the other hand.
Yeah. Find one wrist, one hand is looser than the other.
All right. Okay, so this next one is a simple quad stretch. You probably want to stand up for this one. You can use the side of your desk or the side of your chair, but we're just gonna put our hand down for balance or support, and just simply lift that leg and grab the ankle, and we're gonna hold it up. So you're gonna just hold it back like that. And this is a great quad stretch. This is a great one to do too if you've been sitting a lot or driving, to get up and stretch that muscle. It's a large muscle we have there, so important to get stretches in. And then just switching to the other side. All right. So just a couple more. So now we're going to do a calf stretch. So you may or may not need to hold on to something for balance or support, but you're going to extend. Let's do the right leg first. We're going to extend that right foot in front of us, and we're going to flex. So just pointing that toe up towards the ceiling, and we're going to gently stretch over here. And if you want, you can reach down. If you can reach it, grab the tip of your toe just to kind of give yourself a little bit more stretch there in the calf. And then switching to the other side. All right. Okay, so next we're going to do some ankle rolls. So you could probably do these sitting, but we're just going to put our foot out to the right and rotate that ankle in one direction, and then switch to the other direction. And then do the other side. All right, side bends. Okay, so for this one, you're just gonna stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, placing your arms at the side, and you're gonna just put one hand on your hip and then slowly bending over toward the side. You'll feel that stretch along the side here, and trying to keep that chest facing forward, and keeping those shoulders back. Slowly bending over, holding for a few seconds. Right, and we're going to do the other side. All right, how are we feeling?
Great.
A little bit better?
A little better. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for those of y'all who followed along. And if not, then maybe, you were in a situation where you couldn't get up and move around, and that's fine. But hopefully, next time you're feeling like you need to just get a little blood flow, now you have some tips to help.
Exactly.
All right. So this is another quote we have here. The only bad workout is the one that didn't happen. So like Mark said, sometimes chunking fitness in is better than trying to do an hour and then nothing else the rest of the day. So, don't beat yourself up if you don't have time to get your full hour in, or even your, full 30 minutes. Maybe it's just grabbing that coworker and taking a quick walk around the block or around the office. Anything is better than nothing.
I think in the interest of time, we're gonna skip the next slide and go to our kind of conclusion summary takeaways.
Yeah, definitely. So, as Mark made it very clear, in the previous slides, fitness, it's not all about physical appearance, right? As we know, there are so many benefits to fitness, whether that be the risk reduction to cancer or the most, the best one I think is what he talked about when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia and how that really is one of the best, if not the best way to prevent those diseases. And also, my personal favorite is the brain and body chemistry benefits. As we know, being active releases those feel good hormones. And so it's really good for our mental health, not just our physical health, to be physically active.
Actually, research has shown that it's more effective than the leading pharmaceutical drugs for treating depression.
There you go. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
It changes how you feel day in, day out. We always feel more resilient, your coping skills are higher.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, we talked a little bit about this at CMRC this year is, the importance of doing that for your lymphatic system. It's a great way to get rid of toxins in your body. And so, all right.
Yeah. Intentional, prepare for success, oriented, not problem focused. And what I mean by that is it's easy to go, oh, I don't have my shoes, I can't work out today, or oh, I forgot my gym bag, or oh, no. Let's retrain our brain to go, okay, so I have a small issue, how can I overcome that? Is there something I can do that maybe isn't step, I'll say I don't have my shoes, something that isn't step focused. I can wear my, my business work shoes and use a bike pedal or do strength training that day or, something. But,
yeah. And I talk to people that, they bring their tennis shoes with them to work and they change into their tennis shoes as soon as they are done before they even leave the office. So that's like one less thing they have to do later. It's like they already have, when they get home, they're ready for a walk. There's not that moment where they're like, well, I got to do laundry. It's like they've got their tennis shoes on. They're more likely to just go ahead and fit that in.
Right. As a matter of fact, one of our top fundamentals is find a way, right? So we're encouraging you to find a way when it comes to fitness. And then finally, chunk that fitness like we talked about. That's just maybe a new concept to some of you, but it's the most effective way of doing it and perhaps the most important and beneficial as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have some upcoming dates we want to share with everyone. We're excited about our renewal webinars on May 20th and 21st. And the renewal release date actually is May 23rd. And then we have our next Health Huddle webinar, our Q3 one. It is going to be all about how to prevent overspending, a guide on where to go for care. And so please save the date for that. Invitation will come soon, and that's on July 18th.
Exactly. And again, for more details about the renewal and the whole process of that, please tune in to our webinar, which will be broadcast May 20th and 21st. That will have all the details about your renewal. So thank you very much for your time. Again, these are our territories. And don't forget to connect with us on Facebook. You can take a quick picture screenshot of the QR code to get connected with us. Do you have any questions from the audience at this time? Okay.
Okay.
Great question. Not everything we did today exercise-wise was a stretch per se, but generally 30 to 40 seconds is ideal. I don't want to go in the minutes, but definitely over 30 seconds to hold the stretch.
Mhm.
But as you're stretching, whatever your stretch is, it's always good to do a little like moving around, adjusting your joint even a little bit this way, a little bit that way. Like try to, when you're stretching, just don't just hold a static pose, like move through the range of motion a little bit, and that will help stretch.
Mhm. Yeah.
Great.
All right.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Thank y'all so much. And as Mark said, feel free to reach out to us anytime, any questions you have, and we will follow up with the slides and the webinar recording. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks so much for joining us.